Hello and welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at taxpayer-backed NatWest is facing a fine of up to 340 million after admitting it failed to spot a Bradford gold dealer with links to business run by Petra. Ecclestone's ex-husband, James Stunt, laundered £365 million over 5 years, despite the bank itself predicting the bent business. The 122-year-old jewellery wholesaler Fowler Oldfield deposited up to £1.8 million a day at the height of the scam as a procession of couriers dropped off bags stuffed with cash at the grubby office on an industrial estate in West Yorkshire. At the time of the police investigation into Fowler Oldfield, news reports linked the company to business run by Petra Ecclestone's former husband, James Stunt. Its owner, Gregory Frankel, the great-grandson of its founder, was vice president and Stunt and CEO, a gold bullion business where Mr. Stunt was chairman. Police would later raid the premises and smash the network behind the operation, later branded money laundering on a massive scale. But Britain's largest business and commercial bank failed to spot it even when deposits became increasingly large. Inside the rundown office, the cash would be unpacked and later deposited into Fowler Oldfield's NatWest account. The High Street moneylender is 55% taxpayer owned after a £45 billion state bailout during the financial crisis. NatWest admitted, following the jeweller to launder £365 million, including £264 million in cash, in the first criminal prosecution of its kind in the UK. It could face a potential fine of around £340 million under sentencing guidelines, but a judge will set the final level of penalty at Southwark Crown Court. It is the first criminal prosecution by the Financial Conduct Authority under the 2007 law. Afterward, NatWest's chief executive, Alison Rose, spoke of her deep regret over the scandal that has tarnished the bank's reputation and will leave them with a massive fine that will dent their own balance sheet. Fowler Oldfield was liquidated following a police raid and its assets were left in the hands of the police. Prosecutions have already resulted in several defendants from the Merseyside area being sentenced, including men who transported the cash. Prosecutors said a courier would be summoned by text message and did not know how much was in each bag they dropped off at Fowler Oldfield. Action against NatWest marks the first time a financial institution has faced criminal prosecution under anti-money laundering laws in the UK. NatWest now faces a fine of up to £240 million. FCA prosecutor Claire Montgomery QC told Westminster magistrates that when Fowler Oldfield was taken on as a client by NatWest, its predicted turnover was said to be about £15 million per year. However, it deposited £365 million over the space of almost 5 years, of which £264 million was in cash. She said at its height, Fowler Oldfield deposited up to £1.8 million a day. Up to £2 million in cash was delivered to Fowler Oldfield every day as part of an extremely sophisticated money laundering. In the last statement by liquidators for Fowler Oldfield and filed at company's house, they said NatWest was the secured creditor and that the police held the company's seized assets. NatWest has a vital part to play in detecting and preventing financial crime, and we take extremely seriously our responsibility to prevent money laundering by third parties. In the time since this case arose, we have invested significant resources and continue to enhance our efforts to effectively combat financial crime. We work tirelessly with colleagues, other banks, industry bodies, law enforcement, regulators and governments to help find collaborative solutions to this shared challenge. These partnerships are crucial to counter the significant and evolving threat of financial crime to society. NatWest admitted 3 offences under the Money Laundering Regulations 2007. It will be sentenced at Southwark Crown Court. According to laws passed in 2007, financial firms must do everything possible to prevent their services from becoming the tools of criminals. The case against NatWest is the first criminal prosecution ever undertaken under those 2007 rules. When handling funds from Fowler Oldfield, the FCA alleged that NatWest failed to properly scrutinise increasingly large cash deposits. Prosecutors said couriers could hand over cash to Fowler Oldfield's reception and were usually given an envelope containing a token for proof of delivery. The men were paid for transporting the money. Bags were then unpacked in a counting room behind closed doors at Fowler Oldfield and the amount from each courier recorded in a ledger. But it was this ledger and CCTV footage that later helped investigators to identify the couriers after West Yorkshire Police's Economic Crime Unit raided the site. Police were supported by the National Crime Agency, often dubbed Britain's answer to the FBI, with 12 people arrested for money laundering. When sentencing 4 couriers, Crown Court Judge Colin Byrne noticed that they had been targeted for recruitment because of their debts, often from gambling. One man feared that if he had not delivered the money, there would be consequences for himself and his family. A source familiar with the probes said a remarkable aspect was the simple methods employed. Money laundering these days can be complicated, the source said, adding that the convicted men were doing it the old-fashioned way. NatWest previously stated it cooperated with the criminal probe and that it took its anti-money laundering responsibilities extremely seriously. So what are your thoughts about this NatWest money laundering case and the resulted criminal proceedings that gave NatWest a heavy-duty fine of between £240 and £340 million as they failed to correctly check and process Mr. Fields' deposit? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay safe.